Welcome to Confessions Beyond the Food. I'm your host, Nancy Ridlin. Let's dig in and get inspired. Hi, welcome back to Confessions Beyond the Food. My name is Nancy Ridlin, and I am the host, and also I work with W3 Sales. Today, I am so honored to introduce you to Larry Lavine. He is known as the founder of Chili's.
That's right. Somebody had to.
But you're much more than that.
Well, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. When restaurants work, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I think about sitting here with you, I feel like this is very surreal. And so we just started this podcast, and I've been in this industry for 20 years, and just being able to sit next to you is so exciting. This weekend, I get a text from one of my teammates, Macy, and she said, Larry Lavine, founder of Chili's, just sent us a message. And we freaked out. We may have screamed and got really excited, but you are the grandfather, you are the godfather, you are the visionary of chains, and everything that you do, everything that you've done. So, do you mind sharing, beyond Chili's, what some of the highlights of your career, because you're so much more than just the founder of Chili's.
Well, it started out when I got out of college. I had a teenage nightclub called the Studio Club, and it was for teenagers. And it was a great business. And it's open Friday and Saturday. And we had, you had to have couples only, and the men had to wear coats and ties. You wouldn't get three people today to do that. But so we had bands, and they paid $5 to get in a couple, and it was in a nightclub in Preston Center that somebody built, which was an ill-conceived idea for adults. And then we bought it and turned it into a teenage nightclub. And like many nightclubs, they have a lifespan, so it lasted 4 or 5 years. It was a great business in that I was out of college and only had to work 8 hours a week, Friday and Saturday night. So my biggest challenge was to just not get in trouble during the week.
That is an awesome concept. So, and that was in Preston Center. And then after that, what happened from there?
Then childhood friends and I, a couple of them, wanted to do a hamburger place, and it was going to be based on really high quality hamburgers in a little neighborhood setting. And we talked about it for a number of years and had our dream of what we wanted to do. And as we started putting it together, my partner's mother had a great recipe for prime rib, and I had a recipe for red snapper or something. So we thought, well, we're going to do steak and seafood. Forget hamburgers for right now. So we opened a restaurant. It was called Kitty Hawk, and had a great model of the Kitty Hawk airplane in it. And our restaurant knowledge was about zero at that point. But after about 6 months, it started making money. And then we found the location for the first Chili's and did what our dream was and opened a little neighborhood hamburger place. At the time, there were not many casual restaurants. There was cafes and there were white tablecloth restaurants. There wasn't much in the middle. So that was a plus for us. We were early on that curve. Also, liquor by the drink in Texas, it used to be you had to get a card for every restaurant. You might have 15 cards in your wallet. That law changed. And then we were kind of early on the curve for half-pound hamburgers. Now everybody has them, but at the time that was a big something to talk about. So we thought the concept will probably work at lunch. People eat hamburgers at lunch. Our challenge was to make it exciting enough that you would bring a date there at night. And so we had comfortable booth seatings and controlled lighting and a fun jukebox, great friendly servers, good food, and it worked. And started out at $100 a day and went from there.
to $3 billion.
4 billion, somebody said the other day.
That's crazy. So, what were most of the customers? Were they young people, or was it a mix? Families?
It well, at the time, this was in the 70s. People
Mhm.
didn't take their children out as much. They do now. They take them everywhere. But so while we certainly had children and families, that our customers were of all ages. And I used to say our customers were just somebody breathing. And uh, if you brought in a young child, we did all we could to accommodate them. We didn't have high chairs. We didn't have booster chairs. We had yellow phone books, and we would give you a couple of those.
That is awesome. And so, and then were you part of the whole margarita, or did
Well,
that come later?
we chose margaritas because with a hamburger, we thought, well, you're not going to buy scotch and water. That's not going to, we didn't have a chance of that. So we wanted to sell you a drink. It was a restaurant that just happened to serve drinks. But so we picked margaritas because we thought that fit with a hamburger.
Yeah. Well, and then so, and you stayed with, you developed the concept for the next 10 years, about 10 years.
Yes. Yes. I stayed with it through the public offering. It was a lot of fun doing that, of course.
And so how many locations were there before you?
I left when there were 50. We took it
Wow,
public when there was 21, I believe.
that is crazy. That is crazy. So what, like as far as like your vision for chains, I mean, did you have that vision? I mean, as you started, or were you like, this is working and I'm just going to keep building? How did that happen?
Well, our vision at first was to make a living.
Mhm.
Like most projects, we had a budget. It went over budget, so I got the opportunity to sell my car to finish the construction. Uh, our goal was not to build a chain. Our goal was just to build one restaurant at that point, and we waited a year to make sure it wasn't a fad before we did another one.
Yeah. And so, when you were developing all of it, what was your favorite in all of your concepts? What was your favorite part? What's your favorite part of developing a concept? Is it the strategy? Is it the culinary? Is it a combination?
Well, it's a combination. I mean, my philosophy on food is to try to serve the best you can, whether it's a hot dog or a hamburger or a steak. And so our menu started very simple, and it allowed us to have all scratch cooking, and we didn't have any freezer, and everything was fresh and super high quality meat. Our meat supplier provided steaks for Steak and Ale, so they made our hamburgers, which had a steak flavor to them. So I enjoy uh, putting a concept together and see that the public accepts it. But one of another big part of putting a brand together is building a great team. And I was fortunate to have a great team with Chili's and the other concepts up now.
I mean, I remember I lived in Tyler. I grew up in Tyler, Texas. And like that was the place to go. I mean, that was the biggest special treat to go to Chili's, and you guys had the best hamburgers. I mean, by far, they were delicious. So,
Yeah, I remember when we picked the Tyler site, there weren't many casual restaurants there. So we were kind of pioneers, and the site took off pretty quick. And I learned from that once Chili's worked, everybody else followed us. So we got a lot of competition pretty quick. But that was a great market for us.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's still is busy. So, what have you done since then? Since
Well,
Chili's?
I did bought a concept and expanded called Tia's Tex Mex, and later sold it to Ruby Tuesdays. I don't know if there's one open anymore. Uh, I did Charlie's Seafood, which I sold to Steak and Ale, and they changed it to Bay Street. Uh, then I helped a friend do Johnny Carino's and expand that. And then in between jobs, I've done consulting for other major restaurant brands and chains.
When did you sleep?
uh, uh, I get this. I get this sleep in. I need that. But
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I don't really consider I'm doing work. I enjoy building restaurants and helping people with them.
I guess like, I mean, if you were to describe like your passion, like what is it? I mean, is it you kind of mentioned it before, the passion behind everything.
Uh, I've always tried to play in the area of a concept that appeals to everybody, whether it's hamburgers or Mexican food or Italian food or pizzas. So I understand that customer, and that's what I've always tried to appeal to. And I just try to, whatever concept it is, uh, try to provide the quality and excitement that the best you can for that brand. Whether if it's a $15 check average, then you need to give them $30 worth of experience, and you got to have the you got to have the right concept, and then you got to have the right team to turn it out every time.
And the people, I mean, they make it so much fun. I mean, we all get into this industry, and once you're in, I feel like and if you like it, you're in.
I agree with you. If I could have talked Ray Kroc out of getting in the restaurant industry, I probably would have. So I think once you're in it, you understand it. And too many times people get in the industry, and the two great answers they'll say. I asked somebody why do they get it. Well, my wife makes great lasagna. That's one thing. And then I met somebody a few months ago. Why'd you get in this business? He had no business in it. He was a very successful developer and he had some restaurants. And I said, why'd you get in this? I like to entertain, but that's not a good answer. It's a business, and you might like to entertain, but you're entertaining in a very special way with a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we stay in business. I mean, in selling what we do, because it is a tough business. I mean, not everybody survives. What is the
Yeah, I
statistic?
just heard the other day that I think Jack Gibbons said that 80% fail in 5 years and 60% fail in 2 years. There's a big failure rate because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a business. You got to run it like a business.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not an 8 to 5, and it's not just, hey, I'm just going to check in and on your people. You have to be in it. Like, they work the longest, hardest
That's
hours,
right.
and they work holidays, and they have to be when someone every half the shift calls in sick. I mean, the owner has to jump in and get in there and keep it fresh.
That's right. Uh, it's it's a great business, particularly for young people. And I used to say as they're kind of moving through life, get out of school, they're working while they go to school. It's a great profession to make some money and still have time for other things in your life. So, of course, we love people that stay with the industry forever, but in some cases, the turnover is not a bad idea in that because you keep getting fresh talent.
That's very true. I always like try to trap people in because I love it so much, but it's not for everybody. But the new energy that comes in, we bring in a lot of new
That's
people
right.
outside the industry, and it's really fun to see their perspective because mine, I've been in it for 20 years. I mean, people have been in it for longer, and it's just fun to get us all in the same room and kind of collaborate.
Right.
So, do you get to do a lot of collaboration with just different types of people?
Man, over the years, not a lot, but my focus has always been working with the companies. I've done some more lately and enjoy people in the industry. It's exciting to talk to people in it that are successful and that know what they're doing, share ideas with them.
Yeah. So, what is if you were to give advice to, someone out there that's thinking, "Oh, I want to start up a restaurant, or I have a vision, or I want to take my concept and take it to the next level." What do you think it takes for them to get that off the ground?
Well, I have a little internal formula in that if you're going to build a brand, that it first must be a valid brand, meaning you're selling something that enough people want to buy. And let's assume you've now developed a valid brand. The next most important thing is to have a great team. And you're not going to be able to be in the restaurant every day, every hour. So you need people that fit the brand, fit the culture of the brand, and that can continually turn out the promise of the brand to your dining customer.
So, when you are like consulting with someone, like how long does it take to develop like the brand and the culture?
Uh, how long does it take? It doesn't take that long to develop it if you have the knack for being able to do it. You usually pop up with a vision and then come up with a story that fits that vision and build it. I've always tried to build a backstory to what's the brand all about. You might not advertise that. In Chili's case, it was uh, an old cowboy from West Texas that made chili and cooked hamburgers, and we never talked about that, but that was kind of always in the back of our mind of what fits the brand. We want where it had that personal feeling of an old cowboy that made chili out on the range.
So I have a question. Actually, one of my teammates had a question, Tracy did, about all the pictures in the original, like the first chilies. Where did those come from?
I took most of them. I attended the chili cook-offs in Terlingua before we opened and then after we opened. But that's where most of those pictures came from the chili cook-offs.
And then did those get replicated to the other stores?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So same pictures in the same stores.
That's right. And then eventually they shrunk it from hundreds to none. I don't think there's any Terlingua pictures anymore, and that's fine. They felt they needed to change the brand. They've done a good job with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's a big thing is the brands and chains have changed over time. What have you seen that has changed the most about chain restaurant chains in general?
Well, kind of a sideways answer to that. I think chains have to keep themselves fresh in that Norman Brinker did a great job with Steak and Ale, but they didn't over the years keep it fresh. They had no windows and the uniforms. They had great food, and for a time they let the food quality go down. And then we had a partner that did Outback, and Chris Sullivan, and he was our franchise partner. In Florida, he operated all the restaurants, and he used Chili's credit to expand. Then Chili's bought it back, and he had money from the buyout and wanted to do his own restaurant. And as he told me, he took the cashness of Chili's and the quality of the early Steak and Ale and pushed them together and made Outback. And like he said, there never would have been an Outback if Steak and Ale had kept themselves fresh. So you have to keep yourself fresh and tuned into what the public's looking for now.
I mean, and there's still a ton of Outbacks. I mean, the steaks are still really good.
Yes.
I mean, my husband was an Outback server at College Station, and so yeah, that was like the place you took. You know, I went to A&M. When your parents came in town, you got to go to Outback and have dinner. So.
Yeah, they've done a good job, and like I said, they tried to maintain the earlier quality of Steak and Ale. Mm-hmm. Steak and Ale was the place to go get a choice mid-price steak, and they just took that and have done a great job with it.
So, of the successful chains now, and kind of where things are going, like where do you see chains going? I mean, are they growing? Are they going to grow really big in the future, or is it going to be more regional chains? How do you?
Well, I've got a good friend that in the restaurant business, and we've talked about that. In that, I think there's going to be certainly big chains are going to continue to grow, but I think they're starting to see some movement that when the PE firms or investors buy restaurants, they're now starting to buy them and leave them in their region, not try to we've got a concept that works great in Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, but it doesn't fit for the Northeast. And they're starting to do some of that where they'll buy it and leave it in the region that they bought it in. And that certainly makes sense. But there's still an opportunity for national change because they've got the systems and procedures and buying and team to roll these out.
Yeah, there's been some really, I mean, obviously successful ones. I mean, I see a lot of emerging chains. I mean, especially out of Dallas. I mean,
Dallas is a test center for concepts in that we don't have any mountains or streams or oceans or hiking trails. So the people in Dallas on the weekend go out to dinner. That's one of their forms of entertainment. We're getting a little more, but that's the big thing about Dallas. So because it's so competitive, there's so many restaurants that chains have found that if it works in Dallas, it'll probably work anywhere. So a lot of them will test a chain here.
That's really interesting. I mean, I remember Beltline, which is really
Okay.
close to me. Like it was the most restaurants per capita, or
Yeah,
was that right? Am I saying that right?
I don't know, but yeah, there were probably more restaurants than citizens that lived there at the time.
Yeah. And so it's really kind of fun to see like some of these emerging chains and like them just shaking up the menu. It's not, I mean, it's just the quality of the food, and the ambiance. And I mean, I'm all about the food. Like I want to be full when I leave, and I want a yummy dining
Sure.
experience. I mean, ambiance is really important too. Like, what do you think? Like, I mean, like with people going more towards ambiance and like,
Well, people today, they want the total experience.
mhm.
When you go in or I go in, we might be more focused on the food than the average customer. But the average customer, they want food they want it consistent. If they remember it a certain way, they want it that way every time. And but they're buying the total experience and what's the atmosphere like, and the music, and the service, and the price, and portion size. They today, if you're going to have a concept, it has to have the total package.
So what do you think about like, food delivery and all of that? How do you see that as changing things?
Well, it certainly has changed in that COVID started it, that nobody wanted to get out of their house and they had to get delivery. So, but it's really stayed with us in that just past when I made a U-turn coming here, I saw looked like there was a new McDonald's. I don't know if it was, but a new McDonald's going in with 3 or 4 drive-through lanes. That's the new trick that fast food people want.
They want it instant,
Yeah.
they want it fast. And so, I mean, has a consumer changed? I mean,
Well, some part of the consumers changed. I think there's always going to be a need for sit-down restaurants. When COVID started, I said to myself that the first thing to come back are going to be restaurants because people don't cook. They don't know how to cook. They don't want to cook. And more importantly, they want to have a place to meet their friends. And in Dallas, and pretty much across the country, but certainly in Dallas, the patios were the first to come back. They may not have been safe, but everybody thought they were safe. So the casual and many fast casual restaurants are doing better today than they did before the COVID. There's still a pent up demand that people want to go out some more.
I mean, it's hard to get a reservation. I mean,
I just was with somebody that had a upper end restaurant talking about. There's an app you can get. I don't remember the name of it on your phone. If you want to go to a restaurant that's busy this Saturday night, you go to this app and they'll sell you a reservation starting at $150. And then I guess they work it down to where they can sell it. And they have it for restaurants in Dallas. People will make a reservation and then they'll sell you that reservation. And pretty crazy.
that is wild. Like, what is the ticket thing?
Well,
When you buy like concert tickets, like that's crazy.
yeah, and it starts. I guess I don't know how it works exactly, but it starts that the price starts at $150, and I guess they keep lowering it until they sell it. And I had a friend that tried it, and he said, "Well, I went to New York for a trip, and said I spent $300 on 2 different meals just buying the reservation." Maybe that makes sense in New York if you're going out for an expensive dinner at the last minute, but pretty crazy in Dallas. But the restaurant, if that continues and gets out of hand, the restaurants will have to do something about it. In that, if you make a reservation under Jones and Mr. Smith shows up, they're going to know that something went wrong. So, if it gets to be a big deal, they're going to have to do something about it.
I bet you've seen a lot of things and over time, like crazy things happen, like with customers and, behind the house. Like, I
Oh,
mean, what's some of the like craziest things you've
no,
seen with like, I mean, speaking of reservations, like that's my reservation or,
probably one of the craziest things at Chile, at the first Chili's, and it was probably maybe in the first year. We had a line 7 days a week, fortunately. Somebody stood in line, waited for a table, sat down at the table, and then asked for the manager, and the manager came and sat down in the booth, and he informed he was there to rob them. So not many burglars or robbers are going to stand in line, but so
What?
he he fired a couple of shots in the air and ran out the back door.
Are you serious? Were you there?
No, I drove up about 30 seconds later in a convertible. I'm glad my timing was a little late in that, because I probably would have been pulling up about the time he pulled out.
Oh my gosh, that is so scary. So did he steal any? I mean, did he steal the guy's tip money or
He got maybe $25 from the waitresses, and that was it.
like held everybody up
Yes.
at the restaurant?
Yeah.
You're like, see, these are the things that you can't make up, everyone. Like that is the craziest thing.
I don't have a lot, but the stories in restaurants, you couldn't make up some of the craziness that people do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, it is the Wild West, and even though it's 24, I mean, you still it's crazy. It's what makes it fun.
That's right.
And then we get like being with friends and sitting and laughing about all the things that have happened over the years. So what was like? I mean, you've had a lot of successes. Were there any like things that didn't work out so well, or that you learned from? I mean, that. Was there anything that
we did after I left Chili's? Some of my team, we wanted to go do something, so we did on Greenville Avenue, did a restaurant with seafood and pizza, and the public was not ready for that combination at the time, so we sold the building. But yeah, if you do enough restaurants, you're going to probably have some that don't work out.
Yeah. I mean, it and especially these days, because don't you think people are like really they're not do you feel like people are as loyal as they used to be to certain concepts, certain brands? Or do you see?
I don't have a clear answer for that. But I think I've always thought that if people that go out, they have 5 or 6 restaurants that's in their circle, and that's where they go. And if you want to grab that customer, you got to break into that circle. We go here for pizza, we go here for a burger, we go here for barbecue, and that's where we're in the habit of doing. And so everybody develops a habit. And they'll go to one restaurant for the fish, another restaurant for the hamburger. So there is some loyalty in that. Hey, I go to XYZ and I like that product, and they'll stay with it until they find something that's better.
So when you're like consulting with a restaurant, like do you do like I'm obviously like a lot of research and development on the area and the clientele that they would be? Or
most of the time, if I'm doing consulting for major brands that are trying to expand, they've already done that.
Mm-hmm.
They have the location. They just might need to tune up their food or their company culture or their growth strategy. That
Mm-hmm.
they've already the locations are in place. Now, I've helped some people get started, but there's a lot of in the 20 or 30 years ago, there was a lot of to find a location. It had to feel right. You could look up the demographics. Now today, they've got software that'll tell you where the people live and where they eat lunch and where they sleep at night. It's unbelievable.
Have you gotten into the whole AI thing?
I got some friend is a great computer expert photographer, and he was doing some photography work for me the other day and showed me some samples of AI, and it's just breathtaking. It's just what they can do with this unbelievable. It's gonna change things. I don't know how, but I can promise you it's coming.
How do you think it'll change our industry?
That I don't know. I've been invited to speak at a business class at SMU, and I said, "Well, what's the subject of the semester?" It's robotic restaurants and artificial intelligence. I said, "Well, those are 2 great subjects that I know nothing about." I think they want me to answer the other side of the equation. So there'll be a place for it. There's a McDonald's in Fort Worth. It's all robotic, as I understand. I haven't seen it yet, but
I haven't seen that.
And it'd be fun to see. I think at the end of the day, as a customer, if I'm going to go to McDonald's, there'll be a certain group that goes to see it, just how it works. But at the end of the day, the product's got to be just as good as I'm used to, or it's got to be a lot cheaper to give me a reason to go to it. I'm not going to go to a restaurant just because it's robotic. Something's got to give. It's got to be just as good and cheaper or faster or something.
I mean, it's it's about, like you said, the people too. I mean, the people that are there to smile and greet you
That's right.
and give you fast service, and if something's wrong, be there to problem solve. And I mean, that's one thing I love about our industry. I mean, you can't take people out of the equation.
No, it's for the most part, when people go into a restaurant, they're in a good mood and ready to have a good time. And so uh, the restaurant owes them that a great experience, and uh, an example of it at the high-end steakhouses, which there's just a lot in Dallas and with
Mhm.
serving breathtaking prices. When the customer goes in to buy a prime steak, they throw value out the window. They throw check average out the window. They want a great prime steak and they want to be treated like a king for an hour and a half. And if you'll do that, they don't really care what you charge them. So, because the upper end steakhouses have great food, but they're delivering you a special experience.
Mhm. And the mid casual range, you're going there to have an experience but not have to feel like pressure, or to just have fun with your family, have fun with your
That's right.
friends, go in and you could probably pick it up to go or sit down, have an experience. Is that
Yeah, in the casual setting, one thing that's very important, it's got to be consistent. I used to talk that McDonald's may not be great, but it's the same in Dallas or Houston or Paris. They serve the same hamburger every time, and people don't like surprises in the restaurant business. They want to, if they like something, they want the same thing. They don't average it out. It needs to be very consistent.
That's funny that you said that. Like, anytime I hear of people going overseas, they come back and they're like, the first thing I did was go and get a McDonald's
That's right.
hamburger. I mean, that's what I did when I was in China. All I wanted when I got to the airport in Hong Kong, I was like, I just want McDonald's and some French fries. And it was just the same. So
Yeah, I was going to say, how is it? How was it?
it was really good.
I was visiting with a friend day before yesterday, and I hope I'm describing this correctly. Wendy's tried a program of demand pricing, meaning they're going to charge you more at night when they're busy, much like a hotel charges more when they're busy, or the airlines charge more. And if I'm repeating this correctly, that lasted less than 24 hours because the customer told this is not a good plan. People don't want to spend more for a Wendy's at night.
No, and if they're not paying attention, someone is, and word gets out real fast these days, right?
This was less than 24 hours that they stopped it. I think I'm accurate on that.
Yeah. I mean, like with Yelp and I mean, social and
Everybody's a food critic now.
everyone.
That's good and bad. It helps spread the word, but everybody's a food critic.
Right. And, give people a break in the first, like when your concept just opens, like let them settle in. Like, I'm like, don't judge them too harshly, the first month as they get their rhythm. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some concepts, I mean, really good ones, you not make it just because.
Yeah, well, I think too many people don't invest enough time and money and training in the to have a smooth opening. In that, my philosophy has always been to not make the early customers, who are the adventuresome ones, guinea pigs. In that, if the early customers like it, they'll tell 10 people. If they don't, they'll tell 20. So I've always tried to invest the time and money to really have the staff trained so the first customer gets the experience they're supposed to get a year from now.
That is awesome advice, because it seems like most restaurants are like, so like, let's get open, let's get open. They want to return that profit,
That's right.
but because they've been building and, they haven't been making any money, but investing in that time and doing the pre-opening, where you invite your
Right.
friends and family, and having that training goes a really long way. Just like, I mean, in my job in sales, like if I just send somebody out, like, good luck, and they're going to get better later, then that's not
Well,
very
yeah, but
fair.
it's no, you need to spend the time and the money. And I have found that if you have free food and free liquor, you can draw as big a crowd as you want. So,
Yes.
no, we on the training nights. We always do that when we open restaurants. You start with the family of the employees and suppliers, then work up to the general public and the neighbors. But and they're a little forgiving because you're buying them a meal, but you need to do it enough times so that when the first customer shows up, they get the right experience.
And I'm always welcome, just by the way. I mean, I'm always open to be a tester,
Well,
so
we'll
a guinea pig. So, love to try new places. But no, I mean, so this has just been so fun. Like, what do you do? So outside of restaurants, what do you do for fun? Like, what's hobby?
I like to travel. Photography is my hobby.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't done enough of it lately, but I love it.
I'd love to see some of it. So do you where is it posted?
I have a studio and I don't post it. I haven't posted it. I haven't moved into that category yet, but I enjoy taking pictures, particularly shots in a studio.
And that's it. Is that in the design district?
No, that's over in near Lovers Lane and Greenville.
Oh, awesome. I'd love to see that. Well, that's so fun that you have something artistic that just shows your artistry side, that you have, a really, creative side. I mean, you're good, amazing on the creative side, and also as a business strategist, and consultant, do you feel like you have both sides of the brain?
Yeah. It's fun doing restaurants. It's fun taking pictures and traveling and having great friends.
That's awesome. So I have to ask you at the end, what is your confession today?
As we talked when we sat down, this is not anything. It's not gonna shatter the world. If I love doing restaurants, and it's fun building them, developing, and expanding them, or helping another chain expand and grow, and put a great team together. I'm in between having a restaurant and out, so I don't have a team, but I look forward to doing my next restaurant and putting a team together. So I love that. And when it works, it's a lot of fun. If I had all the time and could do whatever I want, I'd be in the film business. And for saying the word film, somebody's going to send us a bill today if you say the word film. So I had a little film company, and did a little documentary, and I loved it. But I could work 24 hours a day shooting film. But it's hard enough in the restaurant business. It's really hard in the photography film business to make a career and be successful with it. But I love it. I really enjoyed doing that.
That is really cool. Well, you never know where life will take you.
That's right.
And you're going to be doing the next major documentary on chains.
Just finishing my first one. I'm going to get an award for the longest editing documentary right now. So
how long?
I started it in 75 and then came back and shot some more in the 80s. And it's 80% complete. So one of these days I'll shut the door long enough to finish it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm just so thankful for your time today.
Thank you.
No, it really is an honor. And so I don't even know what to say. I have no words. I'm just so blessed that you joined us today. And I know everybody out there is going to be excited to hear your story and learn more about you. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today. And if you would like to know more about Larry, you can check him out on LinkedIn and see all his great work. And we just thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.
For more inspiration, follow our social media at W3 Sales. Please like, comment, and subscribe. All the things. We would love to connect with you.